Ramesses II was the third pharaoh of 19th dynasty. He is often regarded as the greatest, most celebrated and most powerful pharaoh of ancient Egypt. He won a decisive victory over the Hittites at the Battle of Kadesh, and used this event to enhance his reputation as a great warrior. Ramesses lived to be 96 years old, had over 200 wives and concubines, 96 sons and 60 daughters, most of whom he outlived. Ramesses was the son of Seti I and Queen Tuya, and accompanied his father on military campaigns in Libya and Palestine, at the age of 14. By the age of 22, Ramesses was leading his own campaigns in Nubia with his own sons, and was named co-ruler with Seti. During his reign, the Egyptian army is estimated to have 100,000 men, a formidable force that he used to strengthen Egyptian influence. After the death of Seti, Ramesses assumed the throne, and began military campaigns to restore the borders of Egypt. In his second year, Ramesses decisively defeated the Shurdan Sea pirates, who were wreaking havoc along Egypt's Mediterranean coast. In that sea battle, together with the Shurdan, the pharaoh also defeated the Lucca and the Shekelsh people. In 1275 BC, Ramesses prepared his army to march on Kadesh, and waited a word from his spies in Syria, as to know the enemy's strength and position. When all seemed in his favor, he led some 20,000 men into the battle. He divided the army into 4 divisions named after the gods: Amun, Ra, Ptah and Set. Ramesses led the Amun division. They marched long before reaching a place where he felt confident in arranging his army in battle formation for attack on the city, and waited for others to catch up. At this time, 2 Hittite spies were captured, and gave up the location of the Hittite army. Ramesses abandoned his plans for an immediate strike. The Hittite army was actually less than a mile away, and the 2 spies had been purposefully sent. As Ramesses' army was camping, the Hittites roared out from behind the walls of Kadesh and struck. The Amun division was completely overrun by the Hittites, and lines were broken. The Hittite cavalry was cutting down the Egyptian infantry. Ramesses called upon his protector god Amun, and fought back. Ramesses turned the tide of the battle. He drove the Hittites towards the Orontes River, killing many of them, while others drowned trying to escape. Ramesses claimed a great victory for Egypt, even though he defeated his enemy in battle, but the Battle of Kadesh nearly resulted in his defeat and death. The Battle of Kadesh led to the first peace treaty ever signed in the world, between Ramesses II of Egypt and Muwatalli II's successor, Hattusili III of the Hittite Empire. After the Battle of Kadesh, Ramesses devoted himself to improving Egypt's infrastructure, strengthening its borders and commissioning vast building projects. The vast tomb complex known as the Ramesseum at Thebes, the temples at Abu Simbel, the complex at Abydos, and hundreds of other buildings, monuments, temples were all constructed by Ramesses. Many historians consider his reign the pinnacle of Egyptian art and culture, and the famous tomb of Nefertari, with its wall painting, is cited as clear evidence of the truth of this claim. Nefertari was Ramesses' first wife, and his favorite queen. Temple walls appears that she have died early in their marriage. After Nefertari, Ramesses elevated his second wife Isetnefret to the position of queen, and after her death, his daughters became his consorts. The memory of Nefertari seems to have always been close in his mind. Ramesses had her likeness engraved on walls, after he had taken other wives. Ramesses moved the capital of his kingdom from Thebes in Nile Valley to a new site in the eastern delta. He wished to be closer to his territories in Canaan and Syria. The new city was named as Pi Ramesses, and was dominated by huge temples, and his vast residential palace, with its own zoo. After reigning for 30 years, Ramesses celebrated a jubilee called the Sed Festival. These were held to honor and rejuvenate the pharaoh's strength. Ramesses had already eclipsed all, brought peace, maintained Egyptian borders, and built great and numerous monuments across his empire. By the time of his death, Ramesses was suffering from severe dental problems, and was plagued by arthritis. Ramesses II was buried in the tomb KV7 in the Valley of the Kings, but because of looting, priests later transformed the body to a holding area, and placed it inside the tomb of Queen Ahmose Inipi.